I want to give you 6 ways of being to authentic empowerment. And remember, authentic empowerment is a sense of empowerment, a sense of inner esteem that comes from inside of you. It's not something that is derived from anything or anyone outside of you. This is a wellspring of confidence, a wellspring of empowerment that is sourced from an inside place. So, how do we get there? Well, the first is to live consciously. And to live consciously, the first nugget I want to give you about that is recognizing that everything and everyone is connected, that we are all really connected, that everything is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. And as we begin to recognize that we are all connected, it sort of raises the bar on how we begin to treat ourselves and how we begin to treat everybody else around us. The second way is radical acceptance. And this is not easy, but radical acceptance is bringing yourself into a place of cooperation that it is what it is, right? Many of us, we agonize over the past, or we invest a whole lot of energy and stress into the way that we want the future to be, or the way that we want it to go, or the way we want that person to behave. Because if the world will just do what we want it to do, then we get to be happy. We get to feel good. But that's not how it works, right? That's not how life really works. Life is always going to be a roller coaster, up, down, all around. And we can either learn how to be in the flow of that, or we can be forcing and slamming ourselves against it. And when we do that, we get hurt. So the answer is acceptance, like the acceptance that the world is a topsy-turvy kind of a place. And when we can come into alignment with that or cooperation with that from an inside place, then we drop the resistance. And when we drop the resistance, we don't suffer. There is much less friction, and then therefore there is much less emotional pain. The third little nugget is 100% responsibility. Ooh, that's a huge one. This is a huge one. So the idea behind this is that I am responsible. I'm going to just use myself as an example. I am responsible for the meaning that I give to things. I am responsible for the experience I'm having because I get to interpret that experience. And the two of us can walk into the exact same room, and one person can look around and say, oh my God, everything in this room is so amazing. I love it. I love the paint. I love the carpet. I love the floor. I love the decor. And the other person can say, oh my God, this is the most horrible room that I've ever been in. I hate the floor and the carpet and the decor and the everything. The room is the same. The room is the same. So I just want to use this as a quick understanding, as an analogy of we get to choose the meaning that we give things. And so if we get to choose, then we must take 100% responsibility for the meaning that we are giving to things. But on the positive side of that, as we really harness that responsibility, we harness our powers as creators in the world, right? Because we are creators in the world, but we usually are giving our powers of creation away to somebody else. And so we don't often identify with that. It takes courage. And this is the fourth point that I want to make. Authentic empowerment is being courageous. And it's being courageous in being you. It's being courageous in being you. It's being courageous in your willingness to speak your truth, to share your voice, to share your expression out in the world. And, I was just reading, it's a longer story that I won't go into, but many of us have been taught to blend in, right? Go along to get along. We want to be like everybody else. And every time we make a decision to do that, we dim our light. We squelch our powers of creation in the world. So being courageous is having the courage to be more of you. Live life on purpose. This is the next one. So I know there's a big, quest that everybody's always on to find their purpose. And our purpose is not something that is outside of us, number one. It's also not a job. Number two, it's not a career. It's not like the perfect thing to do. Your purpose is the free and true expression of the true you. And each one of us has a dynamic code within us called our entelechy. And this entelechy is the fullest realized expression of who we came to be in this life. And it is our purpose to realize that. And in order to do that, we have to be courageous, because every time we take a step, it unlocks a piece of who we really are. So last but not least is spiritual integrity. And spiritual integrity is you being in alignment with you and in cooperation with who you really are. So if you grew up in a family and everybody was a doctor, your parents were doctors and their parents were doctors and their parents were doctors, and it was just like an expectation that you're going to be a doctor. If inside of yourself you really want to be an artist or a farmer or a lawyer or a spiritual teacher, then you can't be a doctor when inside of you is aligned with something completely different. This is where we get ourselves in trouble. So being in spiritual integrity is being in alignment with our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, and our behaviors, and having all of those things line up and be working towards the same common intention. All right, those are your 6 ways of being to authentic empowerment. If you want to know more, you want to learn the tools to authentic empowerment, then check out Empower the Authentic You. I'm Donna Bond, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.